Child. Or should we say sweet baby Jesus? As I lie here, it's about 1:52 now. I have an alarm set in a couple hours. It's Saturday. I'm in Richmond in a huge ass suite, just in dark, playing solfeggio frequencies per usual. Mine on 1027 because I know that damn Starbucks espresso that I drank at 11 o'clock is keeping me awake. And when I say 11 o'clock, I mean 11 a.m. This is my life. Let me readjust in the covers so I can talk to y'all. So lately, I've been battling self-love, giving love, and tough love. Having firm boundaries in place, regardless of how much you may want love. It's really important that you never compromise all of the hard work that you've put forth. And it's really, 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 really important that you maintain those boundaries even when you know you don't want to. Because when you know something is good and when you feel in your core, like I've never been this confident in love and confident in myself and confident in my voice. My throat chakra is on like 1,000. And I love that for myself because I've never spoken up for myself so much than in the past year. Because there's so many people who will constantly take advantage of your kindness or your timidness or your shyness or you wanting to avoid drama. Whatever you feel like it, you would deem that avoidant you to speak up or speak out. Whatever you feel that is, people can take advantage of that. And this year, I've proven to myself that in any capacity, in any shape, I've spoken up for myself. And people who are like, I hate to always talk about astrology and things like that because I feel like so many different cultures have their own versions and they be like more accurate than the zodiac, But as a Libra with a Sag rising, I'm low-key ruthless when it comes to expressing myself. And I just make it plain. I don't know how to shimmer and shine. If this is how I'm feeling, you're gonna know. And I'm gonna say it as direct because I don't even know how to sugarcoat. Like, I really have been practicing, on how to, water down stuff. And the person I'm getting to know is like, nah, just say it how it is. And I'd be like, damn, I'm really trying to work on my people skills. And he's like, nah, say that shit. It's so encouraging because this is the first time I've actually had someone agree with my frankness. And I love that. It's not to say that, I don't feel like this person is the one, and I genuinely feel like, God, source, universe, and them, whomever you want to deem as your God, my God, I feel that, the God, Lord, don't judge. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how I want to differentiate that statement. Because when I feel like I'm talking about God, I'm talking about agape love, and that's a different type of love that very few of us experience. And, very many of us in the Black, Indigenous, people of color community have seldomly experienced love in general, or they don't even know what that looks like from their parents. And 9 times out of 10, they have to rely on why? Just why? They have to rely on other people to fill their love tank up. But when you come fucking with a real one, shout out to Queen Goddess Hope, you start learning these things, and naturally I just lead by example. And I feel that my aura is, my conversation is, my natural ability to guide, nurture, and love is undeniable. And I will happily tell any man, like, yo, if you've gotten this deep and you decide to walk away, good riddance. Good riddance, because you'll probably never find anybody like me ever again. My shit is one of a kind. And I've had people come to me years later that will say, I wish I would have stayed with you. Or, damn, I really let that messed up because my pride or my ego was so inflated. I was young 20s, this, that. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that shit. Not then. Damn sure not now. And that's not going to change nothing. And I've been, guided to forgive and let go and forget, and realize that I can't change anything from the past. And I'm that kind of person, like, once I kind of shake you off, it's really impossible for you to get back into my good vibe and good graces, especially when it comes to dating. I have to have like this soft spot for you or something like that. And even with the soft spot, I'm like, fuck out of here. Like, now more than ever, I just don't want any parts of that. Like, I just genuinely don't. I don't want to go back and repeat things and be miserable. I feel like looking forward is probably the best thing for myself right now at this time. I know that if I attempted to even, not that the past is even an option, because I haven't even created or provided the space to make it an option to go back to the past. But like, hypothetically speaking, if I was capable of going back to the past, there's nothing that person or those individuals could do to convince me right now in my mindset that they need to fit into my life. Like, I don't even know what's going on in your life, enough to trust myself, to allow myself to get back in. And that should be awkward as fuck. Like, oh, y'all back together again? Like, mind your business. Don't make no smart ass comment like that, even though it's a regular ass question, but mind your business. That's like my favorite line right now. Why are they in your business and mind your business? Like, mind your business. But back to what I was saying, I just feel like I'm in a position now where I'm just so healthy. I'm protected. I feel loved. I have people that check on me and just offer good vibrations and, make me feel secure. And when it comes to love, joy, peace, kindness, the fruits of the spirit and such, I want to be able to mimic that energy, especially to somebody that I feel that I want to be with long term. So I say that all to say this. If you know your worth, and if you've done the childhood trauma healings, if you've done therapy, if you've done a journaling, if you've dated yourself, if you've done all of these things to love yourself, because there are very many people in the Black and Indigenous people of color community who are tired of dating other souls solely for sex. Like, the relationship at this point and at this time and this age has to go beyond sexual exchange. It has to go beyond what our perception of love it was. It's not what is, because A healed individual can only be with a healed individual. And when I say healed, I mean as best as you can be by yourself, because there are just some wounds that another person has to feel for you. You can only be healed up to, let's say, 95%. But there were just some other things that you need from another person that's going to seal that up and make you forget about everything that you've ever gone through. And they're just going to love you immensely and going to be completely obsessed. They're going to be the number one person on your fan team. You know, they're just going to be all about you. You don't have to worry about anything else. You're not going to have to worry about cheating. You're not going to have to worry about if he's lying. You're not going to have to worry. You're not going to have to worry. You're not have to worry. And one thing that I've learned in just kind of starting to get back into the Bible again, and is that I get comfort from reading the Bible. If I'm going through certain types of situations, I'm just reading it. And I don't even know how I'm reading it now, because I haven't read it in like 6 years, almost 7 years. And now that I'm reading it again, it's almost as if it's just jogging my memory, but it's also feeding my soul in a way that it's providing me peace for issues that I've let go wild and grow larger than the fucking Sears Tower, okay? That no longer exists, but just larger than the Sears Tower. Like, these issues were so big, but because I wasn't tapped in to God, I tapped into yoga. That's a whole nother conversation. You know, I'm tapped into a different energy. So now my mindset is completely different. And now that I'm back focused on God and my prayer life has increased, and now that every day I'm reading something in the Bible, whether if it's just me clicking a random verse or a chapter or a reading plan, like, it doesn't matter. I just feel so good. And when I have issues, just like, am I going to be a good enough wife? How about I do a lesson based upon that? You know, I may not be confident in my ability to be a mom, so let me do a reading plan about that. Maybe I'm a little bit perturbed with homeboy today. Let me do a reading plan about being slow to anger. You know, like, it literally provides you just resources upon resources to answer every question that you may have. And I think we really need to start getting comfortable, because regardless of whatever religion you may subscribe to or whatever it is that you may believe, there still has to be an entity that you can throw all of your shit on. Because I'm telling you, when I was wrapped into, this is going somewhere completely different, child. When I was wrapped into yoga and meditation, while it brought me peace, it brought me some type of calmness, because I needed that. I can't say that I felt safe, secure, and at peace in my waking life. I still had concerns. I still had worries. And you shouldn't have to worry if you have God, is my point. So I know these people upstairs better sit the fuck down somewhere. It's 2 a.m. And, you know, just thinking about these things and what does that really look like? And how I've overcome so much just by myself, and just actively trying to pour into myself in different ways to make me feel at peace. It was just really all like a scab that every time I peeled the Band-Aid off, it would open up the womb every time. Imagine that for 6 years, every single day, not reading the Bible, not reading whatever it is that you connect with your God, you know, like. And now, you know, I was sharing with my homie, like, I miss yoga so much, like 96% complete with my yoga certification. And my spirit was like, no, you better not complete this. You don't even know what these people be fucking talking about. They be making you chant. And I remember them trying to make me learn a song, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck this means. I was like, I'm not doing that. And I remember talking with another yogi, black yogi. Went up to her, and her and I were sharing, the process at the same time. And we were sharing notes and talking and this. And she was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Chanting in Sanskrit. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like it. So, growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, there was a young lady married to, I think, Brother Jones. And I remember her comment. I don't know why. I was like 9-10 years old. She was talking about how yoga is forbidden. And because she said yoga was forbidden, my black ass, being bad kid per usual, is like, let me note to self that and try it when I get older. So everything that I grew up believing was wrong, or was taught that it was wrong, when I was of age, living it by myself, whatever the case was, I decided to do all that shit just because I could, just because I didn't have to answer to anyone. And, when I was a kid, I wasn't very aggressive, I wasn't mischievous, I wasn't out here fighting anyone or just causing trouble and havoc and, stress on my family's life. I was just generally a good student, like a nerd. And when I finally became of age, I think I started partying like wow crazy when I was 23. Like, it wasn't even 21, it was more or less 23. And, just thinking about those experiences, and I really started combating the things that my family was like, don't do. So that's generally how I started to become what I call free as fuck, because I had wrote down everything they told me I wasn't supposed to do. I had wrote down all of the things that I thought I was fearful of. And I realized that I was only fearful of them because I was afraid that God was going to look down upon me and strike me down. Or I was afraid of what my dad would think about me. I was afraid of letting people down. And I was always doing for somebody else and was lacking myself. What does Nadia want? What does Queen Goddess Hope want? Because now when I say, who's Queen Goddess Hope? Queen Goddess Hope is this persona who is very calm, very chill, but at the same time, no tolerance, very knowledgeable, super duper witty, sarcastic, straight hood from 476 Richmond Terrace on Staten Island. Like, I have so many different elements to me that I had to create a whole nother entity to just let her be that, because the corporate logistics manager is a completely different person. Like, I didn't know how to mend those two people. And so now that I'm, I turned a new age this year, and now that I'm maturing, now that I'm placing boundaries on people, places, and things, and realizing I'm helping people on my Instagram page, but am I also living by these words? I'm doing my best to. And that's exactly why now I'm actively trying to blend those two personalities. And that's truly what makes you and me unique. Only you can do certain things a certain way that nobody else can. So me trying to blend Queen Goddess Hope and Nadia, the career hustler, entrepreneur, / public speaker, influencer, all this stuff, whoever those two people are, how do we make them come together and be one? So, oh my goodness. So that's basically where I'm at right now. And again, coming in and placing the importance on, having boundaries set and making sure that you're not altering your healing journey because of temporary satisfaction. If you don't stand up for yourself, if you're not mature enough to stand up for yourself, if you do not love yourself, because you have to maintain that love of self, Because if you can allow someone to come in and try to put that whip appeal of manipulation on you and you fall for that shit, you are stuck. Now you gotta fucking learn a lesson that you ain't have no business learning, because God was coming to bless you, but you didn't even know how to stand up for yourself to receive the blessing. Sometimes the blessing is patience. Sometimes because you have patience, your blessing is going to be bigger than what you anticipated, because somebody can give you less than because you required less. They don't have to work for anything. So therefore, why do they have to give you more if you're okay with less? And I'm not really like a less type of fucking person at all, because I could do all this shit by myself. You, on the other hand, is just here because I like to hump. Surfboard, nah, but you're really just here to be my rock, my protector, provider, you can say, but I've always made my own money. So I don't really even be obsessed with that part. You know what I mean? The day that I won't even have to use my own money. If I could bank my whole paycheck, Lord, my stock portfolio would be ignorant. But just thinking about, what it is that I want and all the work that I've done. I've started this self-care healing journey in 2017. It is almost 2024. Just to think that I would actually allow somebody ruin a completion. Think about that. It's almost 7 years, and I'm about to walk into wife, husband, me being a wife, husband, children, my perfect scenario in my mind of what my future would look like as a professional, as a mom, as a wife, and child of God. And I'm walking into that on the 7th year of completion. And all I needed to do was know when to remove myself from toxic situations, know when to cut off toxic friendships or friendships that were no longer serving me, know when to leave environments, jobs, restaurants, buildings, interviews. High-key walked out of interviews because you got me fucked up. And I'm out of here. You just have to know when it's time to stick up for yourself and say, no. Period. No further explanation. And that's always what I was doing, because in school, I would write bomb-ass papers and they always like, you have to explain yourself. Make this longer. Why? I just told you the whole thing in this little 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences. Now you want me to make this shit 10 pages. For what? Now I gotta figure out how to explain this dumb shit to y'all. And that's what I started doing with people, because I wrote so many damn papers in college. Like every week I had to write a paper for multiple classes. Like what? So I started doing that with people. And then now I'm bringing toxic behaviors and attachment styles and toxic love languages into these relationships, because no one taught me how to have healthy relationships. It was always about, what did you see growing up? And thankfully, I saw a lot of healthy relationships because I was in a church, in a kingdom hall, around other married people, because I had always either been in a relationship, or friends wanted to double date, or I was in church with a vast amount of young couples. So we would all hang. It was like 10 young couples, like when I was heavy into church in my mid-20s. So those were who I was rocking with. I was telling my girlfriend recently, like, I think it's going to be so important for us as a culture to unite. And the only way we're going to do that is by being married. And that's how we're going to be like, oh, you and so want to come and hang out, and that's how the conversations start happening, for us to come together as a community. It's all going to be because of Black love. So again, my message was supposed to be 3 minutes long, and it was all about making sure that you maintain your boundaries, making sure that you maintain your healing space. Because I have a negative attachment style where, because I used to say I was an orphan as a kid because both my parents worked all the time as teenage parents. I was always home alone, latchkey kid, tucking myself in, knew how to do everything in the house by 8 years old, like everything, top to bottom, iron, washing clothes, cooking full ass chickens. I said ironing, cleaning bathrooms. Like, I knew how to do full domestic work at 8 years old, and I was only 40 pounds. So it's like, when you are in those types of situations, you are okay with allowing a man to be the same exact way, detached. And I'm very secure in my nature because I'm an only child. Then I was also left home all the time. So it's like, when you couple those things together and you also lack love, there was nobody home to tell me I love you enough, or hug me enough, or give me joy. I'm thankful for my dad, because when I did see him, he was just like on 1,000%. Like, he wasn't 100% present, but because, visitation, all that dumb court order shit, when he was there, he was all of those things. He would be that tucking you in, kissing you, hugging you, giving you words of affirmation, pouring into you, disciplining you, teaching you how to do homework, reading the Bible, having family studies, guiding you. Like, he was very, very nurturing. And so I have, to me, the best of both worlds. I have an attached style to my mate, but it's like, if they pull back or they're too busy now, it's like, okay, so what did I do? Am I in a position to just start talking to some other guy? Or do I actually want to fill up my love tank, because there's obviously a reason why I feel triggered right now? And I had to sit and journal through those types of things, and I had to sit and figure out why I felt the need to go talk to some other guy, because the guy that I wanted to give me attention is not giving me attention today. Do you know what I mean? So learning who you are and how your childhood trauma trickles into your relationships is by far the most drip game, the best advice you'll ever give to yourself. Like, legit. And I only started going to therapy when I felt like I could no longer heal myself. You have to initiate the work. The therapist is just there for you to express and get some more things out of you. They're still going to give you homework assignments to go home and jot things down and jog your memory a little bit more. But ultimately, it's up to you. You can go to therapy for 30 years, and if you do not apply the knowledge, what is the point? You just waste the money, because them people is expensive as fuck. Shout out to Great Joy Counseling. And it's like, you really kind of get into this space of, you now become obsessed with healing. And now I'm trying to be intentional. Like, I love journaling. I love books. I love reading self-help books. But now I'm like, why am I addicted to bettering myself? Like, what is that about? Why am I always wanting to seek higher, greater, more self-actualization? What is that about? Why do I feel the need to consistently evolve? So now I'm like, maybe I want to get into a different genre of books. Maybe I want to read some romance books. Again, I used to read a lot of romance books. Maybe I want to start reading some finance books, because I'm really gravitating toward foreign exchange and stocks. Like, I just probably want to remove myself from consistently patching up myself. off and allowing somebody else in to do the patching instead of me. Does that make sense? Because I feel like at some point we can reach a peak where, like I said, you're 95% healed. There's nothing more that you can do. Sometimes we're just at this point where we're just overlearning. We're just overdoing it. And you shouldn't do that. And, again, being at a disadvantage, being born in the inner city in New York City, being technically poor, your whole everything is different. Because that yellow government New York cheddar cheese was fucking crack. They probably had crack in it. Oh my God. Because it was in the 80s. Like, there's no way it didn't. That shit was crack. I'm about to ask my Facebook people that question later. But anyway, I love y'all. I'm going to say this because, reminds me of my Aunt Frankie. She was like, God loves you best. And I have always believed that. And I pray that you received at least one gem from this conversation. I would really like to start, formally recording, which I fully intend on doing. Once I get my microphone, God willing, in the morning. But definitely before the weekend is out. Because I want to record more. And I would just want to start bringing more flavor to your ear. All right, so I pray that you receive this message. Peace, love, and light.